Hello again, this is Max with A1 Website Pro, and in the last lesson we talked about strings, integers, booleans, and we talked about floats. But in this lesson we're going to talk about the other four data types in PHP 7, which are objects, arrays, null, and resource. So if you're following along, if you go to the link in the description of this video, there are the files for this lesson. There's the files from the last lesson and the files for this lesson found on that post. Okay, now diving right into the objects in PHP 7. I wanted to get this out of the way first because it's a little bit more involved to help you understand what objects are. Objects in PHP 7, they're bits of code that we can use over and over again. So one of the objectives that we have as programmers is we want to write less code and have it do more for us. So that's exactly what you get with object-oriented programming. I don't want you to worry about mastering this right now. We're going to have several lessons on OOP, or object-oriented programming, later. But I like to give you guys illustrations. And I want you to picture in your mind a vehicle. Now, whatever vehicle that you picture in your mind, it has several similarities to other vehicles, does it not? So every vehicle has a VIN number, it has a weight, it has a height, and so on and so forth. But now then we can have a vehicle with different brands. Okay, we could have Chevy, Ford, Honda, so on and so forth. So that first set of values, though, like the VIN number, the weight, and the height, that will be one class. Okay, so classes are the blueprints for our objects that we create. So in OOP, or object-oriented programming, we would create an object that holds these values. Okay. And the great thing about this is that once you have vehicles, once you've made a class for vehicles, for the VIN number, the weight, and the height, and all the common things, you can reuse those over again whenever you extend the class into, like, whatever, your different brands or whatnot. So let's go ahead and dive in here. I'm going to fire up my Dreamweaver, and I'm going to go to the data types file that we were working on. In our file list, data types. So get that loaded up in your browser, and go to your SHAMP server if you haven't already, and go to application and type in my website right here, and then we want to go to data types. Okay, so that's where it's located. And for those of you just joining us, once again, the files are on the website if you click the link in this post. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do in OOP is you set a class. Okay, and then after you set a class, you got to name that class. So we'll just name this class vehicle with a capital VEHICLE. Right? And then what you want to do is open and close curly brackets, and inside those curly brackets we're going to set our variables. Now there's public, private, and one other one, but we're just going to use public right now. So public, because we want everybody to be able to see this. The first one would be, let's see, VIN number. So $ VIN number. We're going to set a variable of VIN, just like that. The next one we'll set public, another public, and we will go height, HEIGHT. Okay. The next one, public, we'll set, and we'll call it weight. All right. Okay, so that sets our classes. So we have our VIN, height, and weight. Now what we want to do is there's a magic method. It's called construct. Okay, so what we want to do is type this public, and then function __ construct CONSTRUCT, And then you want to open and close parentheses and open and close on the other side of the parentheses, you want to open and close curly brackets. Go inside these parentheses, and we're going to take these variables up here and put them in there. Now, you remember whenever we were making functions before, we put the variables in. So now you have kind of an idea of what's going on here. Vin, and then comma, the other parameter, height, H-E-I-G-H-T, and then $weight. Okay? So we're going to be calling those in here. And what we want to do is type in $this, and then we use a dart. Okay, that's called a dart when you're programming. And then VIN. Notice I did not put the $sign in front of that variable. The VIN is going to equal whatever the VIN is. Okay. The next one is going to be the $height, and it's going to be darted over to height. And that's going to equal whatever the variable height is, just like so. And so the next one is going to be $weight, darted over, weight, and it's going to equal whatever the weight is. Okay. Now we created our class, and all of our vehicles will have this class because they'll have these different values. Now we want to make the actual object. Okay. So we'll just call our object, name after me, Max. Fine. All right. And this way we have new. And then we want to call the class vehicle, new vehicle. And then open and close parentheses, put a terminator on that so you don't forget. Now here is where we set our, parameters. So in the first one, we want the VIN number to read 123. They're always really long numbers. Okay. We go in there, we put a comma, 2 more single quotes, the height, let's say it's 6 foot. So we'll put 6 foot. Okay. And the next one will have a weight, and maybe it'll be 6,000 pounds. Okay. Now, if I save this and we go to our website and hit refresh, we have attempting to assign property of height to a non-object in line 10. Okay. Okay, let's see what I did here. If we go back to Dreamweaver. Oh, all right. It has to be this. This is a key word for this particular type of programming. All right. So if we save that, when we go back here and I hit refresh, you can see that nothing is in there. But you can tell that the object is working. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got the warnings, right? Or we might have had some warnings, but that doesn't matter right now. So how do we see this on the page? Well, we echo, and let's start with the first one is the VIN number. So we'll type in VIN number. We'll echo that out, and we'll say $max, which we're getting from right here in the object. Okay, and then we want to point that to VIN, just like that. So we're pointing it to the VIN number. You see how it's going up here and it's grabbing this? Okay, and then the next, let's concatenate with the height, H-E-I-G-H-T. We'll put a colon there, and then we got concatenate on the other side, and we'll type in $max, put the dart in, and we'll call this height, and then we'll concatenate once again, and then we'll put in weight, colon, and then concatenate again on the other side of the text, and we will type in $max, put the dart in, and then we'll put in weight. Okay. Alrighty, let's go ahead and save that. Go back to our browser, refresh the page, and here we can see we have the VIN number, we have the height, we have the weight. Okay, I got the $sign on the VIN instead of the number sign. So let's refresh that. All right, there you go. Okay, and then I could go on. I could create other objects. You know, I could use this same exact code for my next vehicle. So if I copy and I paste and say this next one is I don't know, Jack, and then Jack, his VIN number is 789. His vehicle is 4 foot tall and it only weighs 2,000 pounds. Okay, so I would do the same thing as I did here. Let's concatenate with a line break on the end here to give it some separation. All right, and let's just go ahead and copy line 16 over again. And instead of Max here, we'll put Jack. Jack. So Jack's vehicle is a little bit smaller than Max's vehicle. So let's save that, and we'll go back to the browser, refresh, and here we can see, Jack's vehicle. All right. So now, it's going up there and it's grabbing all this stuff from the class that we created, and we're able to use it over and over again. Now, that's all well and good, but let's talk about the extending the class. So let's go ahead and get rid of all this down here. And what we want to do is we want to extend the class of vehicle. Okay, in order to extend the class of vehicle, we need to put a new class down here. Okay, and the class is extend class. Now I have a little snippet to save us some time for the typing, but notice you have class car, setting a class of car, and it's going to extend vehicle, which is this class up here. We're also going to create another public variable, which is car. Okay, and this will be the type of car. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to make another public function with a magic method, which is construct. And in there, we're going to hold some variables: VIN, weight, height, and car. Now, these variables here should be in the same order that these ones are here, because that's what it's using. Notice I have VIN, height, and weight up here. I should have them in the same order. So we'll put height here and weight here, and then finally car. And then this is the parent with the construct magic method with the operator, and it's going up here and it's saying, yeah, I want to grab these. Okay, so we want VIN, height, and weight here. Okay, and keep it in the same order, and then we're adding car onto the end because we're extending this class. Now this could be 100 miles long, but for simplicity's sake, we're just grabbing the car. And so this car equals the variable of car, or is set to. Okay, now down here we're going to create a new variable. We're going to actually create the object right here, new car, and here we have the very first one is the VIN number, and then this should be the height, right? So let's make that 6 foot. The next thing is the weight. We'll make it 6,000 pounds, and we'll have it be a Chevy Cruze. All right. Now down here where it says type, we should be starting with the VIN number. So the VIN number and auto VIN. Okay. The next thing that we need to be doing is the height with your 6 foot. So we'll go ahead and put height in here. And then make sure height is here. Next thing would be the weight. So the weight's good. So the weight is 6,000 pounds, weight. And then the last one is going to be our new extended class, which is the car. And we'll just call this type, and we'll say car. All right. So we're going to echo this out onto the browser. Let's refresh. And we see down here we have the VIN number, we have the height of 6 foot, we have the weight of 6,000, and the type of Chevy Cruze. Okay? So, and then we could, make a new object here if we like, and use the parent class and the extended class in the next one as well. So you could understand how I don't have to keep writing this code over and over again in order to achieve my results. Okay, I just use the extended class, and then the next one that I could have would be maybe a truck. Okay, so if I copy this and I extend the class once again, I could say truck here, TRUCK, extends vehicle, okay, and then public truck, so on and so forth. You understand how that's going? So you could go in here and mess around with this stuff and have it be work to your advantage. All right, so that's it on objects for right now, and I went in and probably a little bit deeper, but it's not important that you get this down right now. We're going to be having classes on object-oriented programming here in the future, and so it's not important that you get it down. So let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to arrays. How do we write an array? That is a PHP 7 data type. Okay, let's get rid of all this right here. Now I like ATV, so let's go ATV. My ATV array is going to consist of, so we type a variable, my variable is ATV, and we type an array, just like so. Now my first one is going to be Honda, Honda. The next one would be, I don't know, Harley. And the next one would be Suzuki. I don't know if that's how you spell Suzuki. Let me see. Suzuki. Suzuki. Sorry, Suzuki. All right. Now, in order to get this array to echo out, I would just type in echo and then $ATV, because we're calling that variable. Now I'll have my square brackets. If I wanted the first one, I would use the numeral 0. Okay? Now let me go ahead and save that. It should read Honda on the page. Let me go ahead to our website, refresh, and indeed it does say Honda. If I put the number 2 in here, save it, go to the website, refresh, you can see I'm getting Suzuki, which is in the number 2 position. And then the number, Suzuki, which is in the number 3 position. If I put in the number 1, save, I should get Harley. So let me hit refresh, and I get Harley. So you see, in programming, 0 in arrays is the first one, and then 1, then 2. Okay? So it's important that you understand that, because when you're calling things from the database and you want to get the first thing and you put the number 1 there and you're actually getting the second thing, then you're going to wonder what the heck's going on. So we could do something like, let's put in a double quote, and this time let's put in some HTML. I like Honda. Concatenate that with a period and 2 more double quotes. I also like, and then we'll concatenate, put a $, ATV, square brackets, like so. Also like Harley. And period for concatenation, 2 double quotes. And period for concatenation, $ATV, and then we'll put Suzuki's in this last part. Suzuki period are cool too. Okay, let me put a space between the R so it makes sense. And then in the end, I will close off my paragraph tag. So hit Command S, go to the website, refresh. I like Honda. I also like Harley, and Suzuki are cool too. And Suzuki are cool. Is cool. Put a space before the and. Command S. Refresh the page. All right. So here we're getting the data type of an array, and we're echoing it out on the page. Now arrays get a little bit more complex, just like objects, and we'll get into that later as well. All right. Well, let's go on to the next one, shall we? So let's go into nulls in PHP 7 data types. Null only holds one value. It basically means nothing. It means that nothing is in that data string. So let's take an example of the null data type in PHP 7. So in our Dreamweaver, let's go ahead and set a var, a variable, that equals, let's say, I love dogs. Okay. And let's go ahead and echo that out. And if we echo the var I love dogs, in fact, let's go ahead and put our paragraph tags in there. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. We'll go to our website, refresh, and we can see that I love dogs. Now, if I wanted to empty this, I could empty it like this. I could say $var equals nothing, just like that. And then I'll echo out, and I'll say, put another paragraph tag. This is the result. And I will put in $var, concatenate that, and then I will put the closing paragraph tag. Now, if I hit Command S and I go to the site and I refresh, you can see that nothing is the result. This would be the same as typing in null right here, N-U-L-L. Or, I'm sorry, no quotes on null. Refresh. This is the result. Okay, so we originally had I love dogs in that var, and then in this var you can see the result. There's just nothing there. So that's what null is. It returns a value of null, nothing. All right, so that's pretty simple. Okay, well, let's go on to the next one, which is resource. Okay, the next PHP 7 data type is called resource. A PHP resource is a resource loaded from outside the application. This could be a database connection or the resource to create a new file within PHP. So if you're calling a database a resource, it would look something like this. And let me go ahead, fire up the Dreamweaver. And so let me go ahead and pop this in here. So we're making a connection, C-O-N-N, MySQL connect. It's loading the resources from local host, and it uses the root, the database password and database name to bring it in. Now, there's no sense in showing you this on the browser because it's just not going to do anything. It might just put off an error, but you're going to be using this a lot in the future. And basically, whenever you're calling in resources, you're like a connection to a database. What it does is it connects to the database using that resource, so you can pull in the data from a database, and that's all a resource is. And it also other resources fopen, and we use this to create files within PHP. So resources are just resources that we use to get things done in our applications. Okay, so that's just another data type that we use in PHP 7. Okay, well that concludes this lesson. I hope you're enjoying these lessons. I hope you're learning something. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share this stuff with your friends, and so we can get some more programmers out there. Web developers are in high demand, and so we need to do all we can to fill the role so it doesn't go other places. All right, thanks.